Hello and welcome to Verbling. Hi there, I'm teacher Oakley, and once again I'm resuming an intermittent, never the same time kind of series of classes, which I do once in a while when I feel like it, I guess, about different U.S. states by special request. I had somebody last week and somebody the week before asked me to talk about and have a conversation about my home state, which happens to be Vermont. In any case, we'll be chatting it up about Vermont today, which is where I'm from. So ask me anything, because I'm pretty sure I have it down. Hello, Michael.
Hello, teacher Oakley.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm okay. How was your weekend?
It's going well. Busy weekends.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, also busy. Yeah, very busy lately.
No, I'm busy with learning, preparing for the job that I told you. Yeah, I am kind of reading some information. They give me instructions, all in English, everything in English. You know?
Really?
And, yeah.
Okay.
There is no like my language or something, and I'm reading that and I'm analyzing and practice so they gave me tests. Yeah. And now I'm like in the middle of, but it's not test like psychology test, about colors. It's not about that. It's like work related. So basically, I will kind of the testing if I am qualified, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Practical tests.
Yeah, practical.
Not aptitude tests. I hate those aptitude tests.
No.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very good. How are you doing? Do you have any of your results so far, or you're in the middle of the whole?
Yeah, I passed. There is like multi-level. The company is really like big company. I cannot tell you the name, but you know about that company. It's well known. It's well-known company. So they have kind of multi-level, and I passed like I don't know how many levels. Now I'm on the next level. I don't know what to say. So basically.
And you don't even know.
No. I will know like at the end of this week if I'm hired, or at in the beginning of next week. So basically 1 week.
Really?
I estimated the time, how much time will. So they gave me like the plan of the tests on all of hiring, like the plan, what is going to be. Like what first level, second step, third one, and kind of I figured out that it takes like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And overall to do everything.
If you pass the last level, you will be the new CEO.
No. No, I will work in at let's say good like middle level job position in a well-known English company with good payment, not bad payment. Let's say this.
Well, very good. All right. Looks like
what?
Looks like all your hard work with English is paying off.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's that was what I was thinking. That, for example, 1 year ago I couldn't apply for that job. I would make lots of mistakes in my CV, let's say, or my interview. I couldn't speak with them in English. But here, like a couple of days ago, I could. So they understood me. I understood them perfectly.
Terrific. Well, that's great news. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, like we are now speaking with you. The same was conversation, so nothing difficult.
Well, terrific. All right. Well, that's great news. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay, of course, I acknowledge that I make mistakes, yeah, in English, but it's not about that. I would
Yeah.
not work at the front desk, or what's the job like when you're working with clients?
It depends on. It
No,
totally depends, but
there is like an saying that you are working on the first position, or what was the like when you were
uh,
working with directly with the customer?
well, sometimes they phrase that in business that you're on the front line.
Yeah, you're on the front line. I will not work on the
Right.
front line.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, Michael, I make mistakes in English.
Yeah, no,
Nobody's
that's
perfect.
that have inspired me over the time. When I
Well,
saw,
glad.
when I've seen your mistakes, I figured out
Right.
that no one is perfect, and
Right.
I am on the right track with my mistakes.
There you go. Well, there you go. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. But let's get back on my topic. I guess I'm having it at a weird time because a couple of people asked me to talk about my home state, where I'm originally from, and it's just you and me.
But I think you talked once about that. We
Before?
spoke about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
No?
yeah. I think we did. It was quite some time ago, a long time ago. However, recently in the last couple of weeks, a couple different students
Oh, okay.
were asking me a lot of questions, wanted to do a class. But anyway,
Students in a live class or just on
but always
Facebook?
no. Here in the live
Oh, okay.
classes. But that happens to me every time. Students request a certain class and then they never show up for that particular class, that subject or whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm actually happy to get ideas from students about classes, so it's okay. So anyway, we're talking about Vermont. Yeah. So what do you know about Vermont, or what can you remember about Vermont? Anything?
Okay, off the top of my head, I can tell you that this is a countryside state, type of state, countryside type of state. As far
Yeah.
as I know, like if you say, for example, Vermont, I associate like there are no buildings, big buildings. There's like countryside. They're like quiet place, green, everything, and people like are friendly. And what else could be? Uh, it's like, and the level like of living is not the highest in the US. I mean, the prices are not the highest, and the salaries are not the highest. It's kind of more quiet place. How would I say that? Is not.
That's a good way to say it. It's a quiet place, and that's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah, normally we say just co-locations
Mhm.
of adjectives. Normally we say it's a rural state, or
Yeah.
it's a rural area, and then if we want to add countryside, the normal co-location is to say with a lot of countryside.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's just how we normally say it. But yeah, that's quite accurate for sure. Absolutely true. Let me talk to Juan. Wow, Juan, long time no see.
Hey, Oakley.
Hey, what's new with you? How have you been?
Yeah, same old, same old. Lots of work.
Okay, yeah, I can relate. Man, I've been busy lately. Uh, yeah, okay. We're our topic today. We're talking about my home state. So ask me whatever you want about it. Do you know anything about Vermont?
No.
All right. Well, that was right to the point. Nope. Okay. Well, okay. Real basically, Michael's absolutely correct. It's a very rural state. It is known as the Green Mountain State. That's what it says on all the license plates on the cars. Cars in the United States, each state has something written on the license plate. Hawaii has Aloha State. Missouri has the Show Me State.
Sorry, what Hawaii has?
Aloha, of course.
Oh, Aloha, Aloha.
Aloha State.
Oh, okay.
And it's weird that I know that, right? Because Hawaii is an island, but nevertheless, you do see in the main part of the United States, you do see Hawaiian license plates.
And how do they arrive there? Like,
That's a good question. I've often wondered.
what's the point to bring a car from Hawaii to the US?
I really don't know. I've often wondered exactly that, and exactly how do they get there, and why do they bother? It's an excellent question, and I do not know the answer, actually. Yeah, anyway, it just came up. Yeah, but anyway, Vermont is known as the Green Mountain State. Do they put anything on your license plates where you live? Michael, is there any extra
No,
information besides just the numbers or letters and
no, no, no. Only like we don't have this kind of inscriptions. Like,
inscription? Thank you. That's exactly
but
right.
we don't have this kind of name like in your like windy state or like Chicago, Illinois. Sorry, the state of Illinois, and we don't have like the sunny state like California. We don't have something like that. We have state names like that, and that's all.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, nicknames. These are nicknames. Like people
Yeah,
have nicknames. States have nicknames. And by the way, just so you know, Chicago is the Windy City. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember what Illinois is called. Actually, they have a nickname. Every state has a nickname. I don't remember. And the Sunshine State is Florida, by the way.
Okay.
California, I think, is the Golden State.
Oh, okay. I mixed up all the.
Yeah. Yeah. I seriously remember that, all of these things, just sheerly through experience, seeing the license plates from different states growing up in America. Oh, okay, that's... Yeah, anyway, back to Vermont. Vermont is the Green Mountain State, and it's very aptly named. Its nickname is very appropriate. This time of the year, right now in August, it's green. It's really green. Everywhere you look is green. 98% of or wherever you are in the state, you look around, you're going to see different shades of green. It is a very verdant state. Ooh, good one. Verdant, actually, comes from verdant means green and full of life, usually meaning plant life, of course. And it actually comes from vert, which is French for green. And in fact, the name of Vermont comes from Vert Mons, which is green mountains. So very aptly named. It was originally, well, French, but the French and Indian Wars kind of got taken by the British. It was fought over quite a bit in the early days before United States, in the days of the colonies. There were battles and forts, and Indians, Native Americans, the French and Indian Wars were fought quite a bit in that area. Any case, it is extremely green. There are a lot of mountains, not particularly high mountains. They're not high mountains. What they are very old mountains. Geologically speaking, they're some of the very oldest mountains in the world. And as such, they are loaded with fossils. It's very easy to find very old fossils. The really old ones, like the ancient seabed when there was first like trilobites and ancient corals and I don't know what all. Back when the only life on Earth was fish. That's when the Green Mountains first rose up. So they're pretty old. In any case, they're old. So old mountains, as they tend to be, there's a lot of granite and marble, old rock like that, very hard old rock, not soft rock like sandstone and shale, not igneous. If they were volcanoes, it was long ago, so the very old kind of rock. The mountains have been through more than one ice age. So they're not like high, peaked kind of mountains. They're softer, rounder, rolling mountains, I guess you could say. So they're very kind of picturesque, which is what people think of when they think of Vermont in general.
How do you
They,
say picturesque? Picturesque?
yeah. Okay. Speaking of making English mistakes, how do you spell picturesque? It's a really hard, challenging word.
I
Maybe
will
that.
when I make mistakes in spelling, I always remember about you. Okay, I always remember you. So
The fact is, most English speakers make spelling mistakes because the spelling rules in English are so crazy, and there's so many exceptions. Very
so
difficult.
visually attractive. That means
Yeah,
picture.
exactly,
Okay.
precisely. Very good. Yeah, it's just darn pretty to look at. Yeah, and when other Americans, honestly, being from Vermont, I've lived in other places, New York, especially when I lived down south in New Orleans, Louisiana. People would ask me, I was obviously from the north, and they would ask, "Where are you from?" I'd say Vermont, and they would say, "Where's that? Is that in New York?" Yeah, yeah, that's in New York. Yeah, just so you didn't have to explain everything about the history of the United States. I would just say, yeah, yeah, that's right. It's in New York. Close enough. In any case, many Americans have never heard of Vermont, and I'm not joking about that either. But most of the people in the eastern part of the country know Vermont, have been there on a vacation or something because it's a place where people go on vacations. And that okay, just to give you the idea of Vermonters that most people have, especially city people from Boston and New York City and Washington D.C. and Philadelphia, they think of Vermont. They think we're a bunch of hicks. We actually have a nickname for the people,
So who are you? Hicks?
hicks. Yeah, and we
What's that?
actually have a nickname. A native Vermonter is called a woodchuck. Yeah, they think we're hicks, like farmers, uneducated farmers.
Oh, okay.
Hicks, Hicks and hippies. Okay, a lot of the counterculture, the hippies from the '60s, moved to Vermont. In fact, there was very liberal laws, so they had there was communes. There are still communes set up. Do you know what a commune is?
What?
Uh, Juan, do you know what a commune is?
Mm, no.
Wonder if you
Uh,
guys have any of these in your countries at all.
I think because the word is really similar in Spanish, but I have to confess that I'm ignorant also in Spanish for what it means.
Okay, well, it's very close to the words community or
Yeah.
communist or
Can I?
commuter.
Definition?
Yeah.
It's a group of people living together
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we were talking about communes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and in the '60s, a lot of the city hippies, liberals and crazy hippies, long-haired people, uh, smelling like patchouli oil, came up to Vermont and started communes. But they gradually, slowly died out. I think there may be a few left around, probably a few in Vermont, a few in California. Do you have anything like that in your culture, Michael? People that live in a
Yeah.
commune?
So
Really?
sure,
No
we do
kidding.
have, and that was from the Soviet Union. So let me describe, and you will tell is if it's the same. I mean, we have like block, no, building, sorry, and there is like on the floor is like from, let's say, from 4 to 16 apartments, from 4 to 16 rooms, depends.
Uh-huh.
And you don't have in your room where you live, you don't have a kitchen, you don't have that. You don't have you might not have a bathroom, but might have. And the bathroom and the kitchen is shared by all the people on the floor. For example, 4 people, and they share that thing. Is that is what you described or no?
Yeah, okay. Well, eh, I don't know. It might be. It's not a. It's doesn't have really anything to do with the building structure itself. Some people have a commune, and it may be a collection of wigwams and teepees, like the triangular Native American tents. Another commune may just take over a big farmhouse. Another one they may be exactly as you describe, a collective living building with many families living in it.
So, what's
They
the
do it.
commune in your case? I mean, what's the idea? What's the basic? What's the
Yeah, it's more the idea. Basically, families all living together, like communism, sharing everything. So nobody makes more money than anybody else. Whatever they're doing, the only one that I'm familiar with, there was a commune still in operation, which was in a town where I really enjoyed going fishing. Anyway, the commune had like it was in a very small town. The only bar and restaurant was owned by the commune. The only general store to buy fishing tackle or bait was owned by the commune. But they just shared the money collectively, or they didn't even really use money. Somebody, um, they didn't worry about money. In other words, each person didn't have an individual bank account. They had a collective bank account. Okay, so whoever was supposed to do the shopping did the shopping. Whoever was supposed to do the cooking cooked for everyone. Basically, that was the idea. And they had, I don't know, they had some farmland. I think they did some timber work, logging maybe. I'm not sure what all they did. But it was funky because you'd go to their restaurant and I don't know, the people were all like, "Hey man, would you like a cheeseburger?" Very peaceful and very nice, very kind, but it was just a little bit odd. Um, just kind of different people. Anyway, the idea was that they're living collectively, sharing the work, sharing the profit, I guess. Their children were basically similar to I forget what it's called in Jewish society, kibbutz? No. I wish, okay, anyway, where basically the children are raised collectively. They were all together. And the women they all take turns watching all the children. So things like that. basically that's the idea. Juan, do you have anything like that in Costa Rica? Hello? Am I once again? I've gone deaf again.
No, we can. We
No?
can. Yeah.
Okay. I've gone deaf. Funny thing is I can hear myself. Juan, are you there? Now Juan's gone.
He's
Oh my
sleeping.
God.
He's sleeping now. It's late in Costa Rica.
Right, it is late in Costa Rica, indeed. Okay. All right. Anyway. Okay, so anyway, that's the idea. So back to my original point that the idea of Vermonters are a collection of either hicks or hippies, which to some extent this stereotype is a little bit true, but not completely. There's a lot of just kind of normal work-a-day, everyday people doing their job and 9 to 5 going home. Anyway, let's talk economy. Michael, where do you think Vermont gets its money?
Well, I don't know, to be honest, because if it's the countryside, it's farms. I presume they are like kind of farming.
Yes.
And
In particular, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
In
right.
particular, what?
In particular, dairy farming.
Oh, it's like milk, yeah?
That's right. Exactly.
Okay.
And when you say dairy farming, you're talking about cows and milk.
And forest, do they cut forest? Do they deforestate Vermont for money?
Actually, it's very interesting. Part of the history of Vermont, of course, it was deep, deep, dark forest when white folks first got there. And they slowly but surely deforested everything. Same thing happened to Juan. Anyway, they slowly but surely, it went from like very near to 100% forested to less than 5% forested in the first 100 years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was largely dedicated to sheep farming was the major industry. But then, over the next 100 years, up until modern day, or 20 years ago, or whatever, when I last knew these statistics, it went from less than 5% forested to back to like 95% forested. So, or 90 to 95. So, yes, they do cut trees for money, but they do it responsibly now, which they did not do for many hundreds of years. But they, I don't know, brought it back from the dead. They've renewed the environment. And it was kind of, with the sheep farming and the deforestation, there was a large loss of plants, obviously, clearly, and also animals, wildlife, which all came back, actually, after. Even in my lifetime, we've had numerous animals come back to the area, which is kind of interesting. When I was a child, there was no moose, but now there's plenty. There's too many moose, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They have to issue hunting licenses. And now, in my lifetime, wolves came back to the area, which didn't exist when I was a kid. So it's kind of cool. So, and there's a lot more wildlife now.
Would you go to this awesome place back?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Sure. I mean, it is very beautiful, and the fact is, honestly, I moved in my lifetime. I grew up in Vermont. I moved to New York City to go to university, and then I moved back to Vermont. And then I moved for a few years, and then I moved to New Orleans, and I lived there for 2 or 3 years, and then I moved back to Vermont. Then I moved to California, and I lived there for 3 or 4 years, and a few months in Wyoming. And then I moved back to Vermont. I always went back, so there's something about it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's home. It's very, it is very beautiful. It is very home-like. In the winter, it is also very cold. Not a perfect place. It is extremely cold in the winters. Anyway, we were talking about the economy. Yep, dairy farms, some forestry, that's true. The biggest by far section of the economy is tourism. There are, I don't know, 20, 25 ski resorts, even though this is a fairly small state. There's a lot of ski resorts, a lot of skiers from Vermont. A lot of people ski, and not downhill skiing and cross-country skiing, because long rolling hills, perfect for skiing. So people come in the winter for skiing, snowmobiling. People come in the summer because the climate is perfect in the summer. It's not too hot, not too cold. So people who want to get out of the big city heat come and relax, play golf, play tennis, go swimming. Tons of lakes and rivers and waterfalls. In my town, I could probably, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can think of 5 absolutely gorgeous waterfalls where you could go swimming in just a few mile drive. Absolutely beautiful, idyllic places to swim in the summer. Really nice. Although the water is cold because it comes off the mountains. But on a hot day, it's great. Fishing, you know. Anyway, summer activities, boating. So lots of tourists in the summer. In the fall, there's what we call leaf peeper season. Leaf peeper. Or the fall foliage. It's extremely something you have to see to believe. Because of the large variety of trees, and with many of them being maple trees, in the fall the leaves turn color, and it's really amazing. A maple tree, one maple tree, which they can be very, very large, well foliated trees. There's a lot of leaves and they're big, okay? And the green leaf turns from green, see if I can get this right, green to yellow to orange to red to purple. So it slowly changes color. So on one part of the tree it'll be yellow, and another part it'll be purple, and then here it'll be red, and then here it'll still be green. So they look like they're tie-dyed, like they're those kind of T-shirts that kids dye different bright colors. It's really kind of amazing. It's pretty cool. And then, you know, there's one beautiful tree, and that's pretty cool. And then you multiply that by, you know, 100 million trees. It's pretty dazzling. Whoa. In any case, quite astonishingly beautiful. So a lot of tourists come there. And then, the last tourist season is there's a small season in November, actually, after the leaves are all gone and before there's snow. Maybe there's a little bit of snow, just the start of snow. There's what's called deer season, and that's a hunting season. Believe it or not, it brings a lot of tourists to the area. They go out in the woods and they go hunting for 3 weeks. So basically there are tourists every season except spring, which is actually surprisingly is also an extremely beautiful season, but nobody goes there. But as Vermonters affectionately call it, we call it mud season. Which I think is self-explanatory. In the winter, that's what we call it. And in the winter, there's a ton of snow, the mountain generally gets 3 to 4 meters of snow. There's a lot of snow, so when it all melts in the spring, plus there's already so much water, so many rivers and streams and everything, the roads just become ridiculous, muddy. There's mud everywhere. Everything's mud, which is probably why no tourists come. But it's still beautiful when the leaves start to bud and the bright, bright, bright green, light yellow green buds come out, and there's some spring flowers. It's still very beautiful. But it's going to be muddy. Okay. Nader, how you doing? Nader? Wow. What's going on here with the...
My mobile phone is...
Okay. Well, at least you're on. Juan and I have had some issues with the Hangout today. And by the way, Juan, are you back?
Yeah. I didn't realize I had to reload mine too.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that? I don't know. Something wrong with the Hangout.
No.
I don't know. Anyway.
You have to.
Anyway, yeah, open a ticket, right? Right. Anyhow, we're talking about Vermont, and I was talking about the economy, and I was talking about why tourism is the largest segment of the economy. Then there's also what is... earlier we were talking about what Vermont is known for. Vermont is also known for, actually throughout the United States, for a few of its products, famous products. Can you guess? Do you have any idea? Michael? Can you...
No. I was thinking.
Actually...
Milk.
Well, yeah, in a way. In a way, yes. Dairy products, in particular, cheese, Vermont cheddar cheese, Monterey Jack. There's a few kinds of cheese that come from Vermont, which are award-winning. They always win a lot of awards, whatever cheese awards there are. I don't know, but they are really good. And also ice cream. Have any of you guys ever heard of Ben and Jerry's ice cream?
Nope.
No. Well, you really ought to try some. Nader, have you ever heard of it?
No.
Well, it is really something. I'll tell you what. Ben and Jerry's. It's been in so many movies. You guys have probably seen it in American movies. Because in America, it's very famous as being like the best ice cream. And it's very famous for being very indulgent. Ben and Jerry's puts big chunks of things. I mean, big chunks of things. If you get banana ice cream, you can get big pieces like this big in the ice cream. So it's very indulgent, very rich ice cream. They're not worried about you getting fat. They don't care. And many flavors, and many really delicious flavors. They have like apple pie ice cream, and what they literally throw entire apple pies into their ice cream, mix it around a little bit so you get big pieces of crust, pieces of apple. Awesome.
Wow. Yeah,
it's great. It's expensive. It's not cheap, but it's quite famous, and I'm sure you've seen it in movies. When a girl is all crying because she's lost her boyfriend in that part of the movie, like every Hollywood movie, she's sitting there eating a big pint. Comes in a big pint. She's eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream. It's classic, iconic. Juan, have you ever had?
Baskin Robbins in everywhere.
Yeah, well,
it's the only chain we have for ice cream.
There you go. Baskin Robbins. Yeah.
Isn't...
Yes, no, it's not. And Ben and Jerry's, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, Ben and Jerry's is to Baskin Robbins as lion is to pussycat. Not even in the same ballpark. You're talking about two totally different things. Juan, have you ever had Ben and Jerry's? Is Juan again
Sorry, I was on mute.
silenced? Okay. All right.
No, but I have heard about it in the
You have,
movies,
okay.
like you mentioned.
Yeah, they really need to get their international. They don't have it here in the Philippines where I am now either. But I know they have it. They have it in Japan. They have it in Australia. They have it in Korea. I don't know why they don't have it here.
Well, Clem, but you know what
Yeah.
is written in the dictionary? It's written that it's a Ben & Jerry's is an American cream company. Well, I mean, a division of the Anglo-Dutch Unilever conglomerate.
Ah, yeah, they sold to Unilever.
Oh, they sold it.
Yeah, it actually started in a reconditioned gas station, believe it or not. I remember that. I totally, absolutely bought ice cream cones from the first Ben & Jerry's shop ever. Yeah, they eventually, like all the startups do, they eventually sold out to a huge corporate group. Sadly enough. Yeah. Actually, Ben & Jerry's right now, as we speak, it's very odd. They're fighting with their own parent company, Unilever, which is an international food company. They're fighting with them because Ben & Jerry's has historically been, what do you say, socially aware? I don't know. Politically correct? I don't know. They're fighting with their own parent company, and they're about genetically altered foodstuffs, genetically altered plants, genetically altered foods, genetically modified foods. There, that's what I mean. GMI. Because they don't want to use genetically modified foods in their ice cream, and as I was saying, they put giant chunks of things in their ice cream. So anyway, it's a weird thing because they're owned by Unilever, but they're fighting Unilever. And Monsanto, which you guys probably are aware of, Monsanto being the enormous agriculture company that does genetically modified food seeds and pesticides and fertilizers and everything we need to grow food. Is suing Ben & Jerry's for an insane amount of money. So, yeah, who knows? So the thing about Ben & Jerry's, they're two hippies. If you actually bought a pint of Ben & Jerry's, it has their picture, a little circle of their picture, and they're just two hippie guys. Whatever, but they're very, I don't know, very socially active. Corporate responsibility is a big part of their corporate branding, actually. And they have a number, I don't know, lots of different programs for helping the needy, helping the poor, people in different countries, sourcing products that are grown from local farmers. All their milk comes from local farmers. This is a big, big company, but they don't get milk from giant agribusiness farms. They get it from Farmer John down the road. And then they really do, because I know they do, because I've seen them do it. I've seen the trucks rolling in. I've been to the Ben & Jerry's plant there where they make the ice cream, which is great, by the way. You can go visit their plant in Vermont and get free ice cream. Yeah. Kind of like wine tasting, but with ice cream. It's great. It's cool. Anyway, it's an interesting part of Vermont culture. Another famous Vermont product Now, can anyone guess? I mentioned the maple trees and how beautiful the foliage is. Clue, clue, clue.
Maple
Juan,
juice.
Maple juice. That's so funny. Well, okay. Well, that's just funny. Maple syrup is the finished product. It's funny that you say maple juice because the fact is, how you get maple syrup, you tap a tree. You put like a kind of like a faucet or a tap, you get water out of in your house, and you hammer it into the tree, and maple juice comes out, except that we call it sap. From a tree, the liquid inside a tree is called sap. There's an English word for you. In any case, they tap these maple trees for the sap. And then the sap tastes like, if you just taste the sap, it tastes like sweet water. So it just tastes just like water somebody put a little bit of sugar in. Tastes good, but there's a little bit of flavor, the kind of maple flavor, tree flavor. And then you have to cook it down. I don't know the exact proportions, like 1 part to 12, so, something like that. I can't remember, but and that you steam off the water. And the only way to do it, it's actually quite cool. There's a season, it's only about 3 weeks, where you can tap the trees after winter, when the sap thaws and runs down the tree. So there's a very limited harvest season. And then they have to cook the sap. And there's really only one way to do it. They have these very long pans, very big pans, and they slowly steam the sap. So the steam comes out. It's great. The steam comes out. It smells really delicious. And these syrup houses, as they're called, you see them, and there's just huge clouds of steam coming out. But it's just steam. It's not, it's not exhaust. Like, it's not a coal factory. So it smells really good. It's also really warm inside a maple sugar house. A sugar house, they're called. When you harvest the maple syrup, it's called sugaring. Sugar season, you go sugaring. Yeah. Anyway, it's quite an interesting process, actually. It's fun to actually see, help out. Now, of course, they're getting much more sophisticated. Now instead of a bucket on the tap, which is the old school style, now they have tubes that run for kilometers and kilometers from one tree to another. Just plastic. I don't think it's PVC. It's flexible kind of tubes. So if you're in the spring walking through the forest in Vermont, there's going to be this insane network of like science fiction looking tubes running through the forest, generally downhill to the sugar house. It's kind of an odd thing, a little out of place, but they take them all down after the season is over, and you can't even tell that they were there. The trees go back to normal. It doesn't hurt the trees at all, and they need to keep the trees, otherwise they make no money. Have you ever had real maple syrup, Nader? I mean real maple syrup, not fake corn
No,
syrup.
I don't like syrup.
You don't?
No.
But have you ever had real maple syrup, though?
No.
Because,
Sure not.
again, it's nothing like the corn syrup, fake syrup that you usually, most people get in the supermarket. It's absolutely nothing like it.
Maybe. Because I don't like that syrup. They put a lot of preservatives
Yeah,
inside
well,
it,
there's...
so I hate it.
Well, here's the beauty. With pure maple syrup, you don't need any preservatives because the sugar is so... the molecules are so thick, it doesn't spoil. You can leave it at room temperature for a year and it won't spoil. Actually, eventually it will spoil, but everything spoils eventually. But in any case, yeah, it has no preservatives, not the real kind. Juan, have you ever had real maple syrup?
No,
Yeah.
not the real one.
You should try it. It's awesome. It's great on like ice cream, vanilla ice cream, or pancakes, of course, waffles. Michael, have you ever had real maple syrup?
Nope.
Oh, okay. There is a festival. There's a festival in springtime to celebrate the sugaring season, and they take the very fresh maple syrup, which is ungodly delicious, and they pour it in a line on the snow. So what happens, the syrup, which is basically a liquid, they pour it hot onto the snow and it becomes like taffy, like sticky, but not quite hard. So you can take like a stick and roll the stick, roll the stick on the syrup and it winds up this kind of taffy, sugary confection that's cold on the outside from the snow. It's really good. I haven't thought about that in a long time. Really a delicious and kind of unique treat. It's interesting. But again, it happens in the spring when there's no tourists, so no tourists ever get to see this. Basically, it's a locals festival, which is more for the natives, so that's great. We're getting down there in time. Does anybody have any questions about Vermont?
Yes, I heard that Vermont. I read that Vermont is has one of the top percentages of highly educated people. So
yeah,
I don't know the reason for this.
That's true, because it's a place where smart people want to live.
And we have a live example in front of us.
Sure.
Yeah, true. No, I would definitely say that is absolutely true. Why is that? I'm not sure.
I don't remember the name, the rank, but I guess it was like the second or something.
It may be. Well, it may have to do with a couple factors. Number one, the education system in Vermont is actually quite good, as opposed to the rest of the United States. It's better than most, I would say. Number two, Vermont is one state that has an early education system in place, wherein kids even younger than kindergarten can start going to nursery school for free, called the Head Start program. And they have, not included in that, they have something called WIC, where no matter your income, mothers of new babies are provided with very nutritious diet material, milk and cheese and vegetables and cereal and rice and whatever, which are clearly designed for the baby, juice, fruits, things like that. So small, very small, 2, 3, or 1 year old, 6 months old Vermonters eat very healthy, guaranteed. So maybe that's one factor. Another factor is probably that it is a very pleasant place to live, and so people that are educated that live in other places that can still make decent money because of their education often move to Vermont to enjoy the more laid-back lifestyle. Most Vermonters are quite physically active, definitely compared to the rest of the United States. Everybody does something. You have to, or you go crazy in the winter. So people ski, they skate, they golf. There's lots of sports facilities, bike paths everywhere. Everybody does some kind of sports. Jogging, bicycling, hiking, mountaineering, something. It's just, and I don't know, I think that's also part of the allure for more educated people. And another thing is, frankly, there's a lot of retired people that retire in Vermont or have a second home. Rich people are usually educated. There are a number of second homes. So I would imagine it's all of these factors. There's 2 or 3 very good universities in Vermont as well that have very good reputation.
And they're cheap in comparison with other states.
Actually, the most expensive university in the United States is in Vermont, called Middlebury College. Private.
Why is that? Because it's private?
I don't know.
What's the point? I thought like Harvard, Stanford, or something like that.
No.
MIT, this kind of.
No, you can look it up. It's a very liberal school. I don't know how to explain it. It has a lot of people who go into things like sociology, some politicians, sales. I don't know why it's so expensive. It's a private school. It's not that great. I've been there. I mean, I didn't go there to go to university there, but I've been there to visit friends or to just visit campus. I think we did some kind of school trip there. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I mean, I've been on campus before. It's nothing special. Been to a dorm room before. Nothing special. I don't really know why it's so expensive. What I do know is I have to go because
you have to eat your lunch.
No, I've already eaten lunch. I have a private class coming
Wow.
right up. Yeah, so I gotta get going.
Okay, thank you so
late.
much for this. We hope it will not be the last one about Vermont.
Okay, what good is it?
When I go to Vermont, I remember you. You
Yeah,
were the
very
first
good.
person in my head.
That's right. And tell them I sent you because they all know me. It's a pretty small population.
Thank